When it was first released, not a lot of car companies has the gall to release a mass market full electric vehicle. That is, until this one right here was into the market. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and we're here to review this one, the BYD Dolphin EV. Now, I'd like to start off our review by saying that the BYD Dolphin is definitely a breath of fresh air from the gaggle of EV, SUVs, and crossovers being released in the market. So it's either you get a crossover SUV or a teeny tiny EV. But this one right here definitely hits the sweet spot. First of all, you got a nice hatchback. That's right, a hatchback as an electric vehicle. You got these LED headlamps, LED DRLs that run across the sides right here of the headlamps. It really looks really nice. And this bar that runs across the lower end of the grille. This doesn't have any grille because it's a full electric vehicle, but it does have some air inlets right here underneath. You got cameras on top, cameras right here in the front that work with a 360-degree camera system, and no fog lamps. Overall, the front end of the BYD Dolphins definitely reminds me a lot of the other BYDs that are made available, but this one actually tones it down just a little bit, making it just right, in my opinion. You got 16-inch alloy wheels. Those are flat alloy wheels, which makes it a lot more aerodynamic and easy to clean. Now, it was raining all night and it was kind of a little bit muddy here, but good thing I just used a little rag, wiped it clean. No need to snake your way through those different spokes. And here, those flat alloy wheels definitely gets cleaned easily. So you got 120 millimeters of ground clearance, so you definitely know that it's not a crossover SUV, but it still has a lot of power and space inside for you to work it because it's a hatchback. You got these black side mirrors right here. Again, you got those cameras on the side. Those are folding side mirrors, but they don't automatically fold, so you'll have to fold them every time you park. And you got these nice classic grab handle doors right here. You don't have those pull type doors because it wants to be as aerodynamic as possible. You got a nice subtle character line that rushes all the way from the front fender to the rear tail lamps, plus this sharp line that creases all the way up, adding a little bit more dynamism and movement as it sets still. I love how the two-tone look is not present here. You won't have a black roof, but you do have a blacked out C-pillar, giving it a little bit more sportiness, and it kind of looks like a floating roof right there. Plus, a shark's fin. Oh no, I'm sorry, a dolphin fin antenna on top. Now, a lot of the quirkiness that I was talking about carries over right here in the rear of the BYD Dolphin. As you can see here, they don't have the BYD badge, instead has the Build Your Dreams moniker. That's what BYD actually want you to believe that it stands for, but in here you won't be able to replace it without having to replace the entirety of this rear tail lamp assembly, which is quite a shame. Also, for a hatchback, you lose out on the rear wipers. That's something that you really need. I mean, I've been driving this around in the rain, and it's getting a little bit foggy inside, as you can see right here. So it's kind of difficult for me to see this until, of course, I wipe that down myself. You got the BYD Dolphin badge right here, and of course, a rear sensor, another camera right here at the bottom, and reflectors on each end. Again, the ocean aesthetic really follows through right here in the back. You've got these nice fish fin-like designs right here on the sides right here. Plus, this light bar that runs across the rear section kind of resembles those Chinese knot twisting kind of things right here on each side, giving it a little bit more character. But again, it is kind of quirky. I wish they just gave me an entire light bar in the back. That would definitely work. Got a spoiler up top and a manual lifting tailgate. Now, what I love about this is that it opens up real wide. So even though you only have 345 liters of space here, it's pretty low and it's easy to put in all your stuff. And if you need even more space, you can fold those rear seats down. They're not a 60-40 split configuration. You have to fold that entire bench seat down, but it gives you a lot more space. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the ocean theme that they're giving the BYD cars, but in my opinion, with the BYD Dolphin, it has the better implementation of that because of how simple the front end looks, how sporty the side looks. It's just on the rear, Probably something that I would like to update in future facelifts. All right, so we're now inside the BYD Dolphin, and one thing that really jumps at you with the BYD Dolphin is how tamed down it is compared to the BYD Atto 3. But even though it is quite tamed down, you still see a lot of curves, a lot of lines, a lot of subtle Easter eggs that relate to its ocean theme right here inside. But one thing that I really appreciate though is the black headliner. Now you got this black headliner right here on top, and it's easier to clean because if you see a smudge right there, you can actually just wipe it off. If you have a cream one or a beige one, you won't be able to see those smudges until it's too late, and down the line, 5 years, 10 years down the line, it's gonna be a really ugly smudge. And yes, that is a reality. You got leather seats right here. The leather seats are, well, the seats are definitely not power operated, they are manually operated. And the seat right here up front is also adjustable for height, and you can move it back and then tilt it forward and back as well. It is necessary because the steering wheel is not adjustable for reach, only for up and down or for rake here. I love how the aircon vents are sculpted in a way that kind of looks very upscale. Plus you got this nice click right here on each side, knowing when it's off or on, and that doesn't feel plastic. Although it is made of plastic, it doesn't feel cheap at all. Now about the ocean theme that keeps on popping up on the outside. Now, and it really continues on here inside. Now you've got these nice looking pattern right here on the door cards. Now they're not soft touch. No, they're definitely not soft touch. Only on the outboard armrest you'll feel that leather material. Some Aquaman themes, some Aquaman looking themes here as well for this, these holes on top of the dashboard. And those that design right there on top of the dashboard on the forward part kind of looks like crashing waves. It's definitely a lot to take in, but trust me, this is definitely one thing that you would appreciate here. It might be polarizing, but the BYD Dolphin is definitely not boring. You got a 12-point-inch touchscreen infotainment system with both wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, which is a nice surprise, especially in a hatchback like this. Unfortunately, you don't get wireless charging, but you do have two USB ports right there and a 12-volt socket. Now you got a USB-C port and a USB-A port and another one in the back. We'll talk about that later. Plus, the biggest trick, BYD trick on any other BYD cars, is this rotating screen. Now, from a landscape orientation, you can set it to vertical, or as I call it, TikTok mode. All right, so again, you got these two-tone designs right here on the dashboard. It has this beige design, and it contrasts the black and gray on the interior. That's nice. You don't have wireless charging, but at least you have spaces to put your phone in there, and a cubby hole right there underneath the floating center console. Unfortunately, it's not that big. You won't be able to fit this large phone. Probably smaller phones wouldn't be any problem, so I'll just put it up right here on top. You don't have a center console right here on the armrest, but you have another non-slip pad that features more of that fish scale design right here on the middle, and a cubby hole right here underneath. That's kind of hard to reach, but it will keep your stuff safe and tidy while you're driving. Two cup holders right here, bottle holders on each side, and of course these switches here, I really appreciate when a car company tries its best to implement manual switches. Plus you got this volume control knob. It's kind of clicky, kind of nice to hold. These switches, one of them is the shifter. That's interesting. You got a shifter right here, a button on the side for park, reverse, neutral, and drive. That's nifty. So a lot of the old school car drivers would probably think this as blasphemy or heresy, but this is an EV after all, something that a lot of futurists would appreciate. You can change your drive modes right here from sport to eco. Unfortunately, the small 5-inch multi-information display does not change its theme whenever you switch to eco or sport. It just gives you an indicator right here that says what it is. On the side, you got a button to control the traction control. So there you go. And of course, a regen button. You can choose between standard regen and larger regen. So the two strengths of the regen here is either standard or larger. Plus another switch here for the hazard lights, automatic air conditioning. So it does have automatic climate control, and of course a button right here, or a switch right here, I should say, switch to turn the AC on and off. All right, so definitely something that that's interesting, this scroll-like design. At least it gives you full control of your car. Plus, right there at the bottom, right behind the cup holders, you'd find your electronic parking brake and a traction control selector and the automatic brake hold, which is easy to learn. There might be a little bit of a learning curve, but trust me, once you get the hang of it, it is pretty intuitive. All right, so now a few more things about the front end right here. Now going back to the steering wheel here, you do find all your controls for your cruise control. A nice button to actually rotate that screen, so you don't have to press the button right here on the screen here. You can actually do it right here on the steering wheel. A 360-degree camera button, so you can check out the camera system. One nifty thing about the BYD Dolphin is that it will not deactivate itself if you pick up some speed. So you theoretically you can drive along in traffic with this turned on indefinitely, and then you can just turn it off when you don't need it, which is nice. You have cruise control, but no adaptive cruise control. This does not have advanced driver assist systems, except of course for the 360-degree camera system and the rear parking sensor. And your media and call buttons are right here on the right side. All right, so right here in the rear passenger section of the BYD Dolphin, and right away you would definitely feel that this is not a crossover SUV, unlike the Atto 3, because space is definitely at a premium, but for a small hatchback, it's definitely above its class. So you got a flat floor right here, giving you a lot of space for your feet. So I wear size 12 shoes, and they're definitely comfortable right here at the bottom. Now I've got a lot of space for my knees and my legs, despite the fact that I'm sitting behind my optimum driving position, which is a little bit laid back and tilted back as well. You only have a solitary cup holder here and a solitary USB-A port to fight over with whenever you're riding in the back with someone else. Now I'm 5'10.5". I can definitely have a lot of headroom of myself, even though I'm wearing this cap. And if I lay myself back, this is fine. Now I don't see three of myself sitting in the back right here, probably 3.5. So if I bifurcate myself, and probably fit. No worries. Maybe 3 is quite a pinch, but it's not going to be ideal if you go on long drives. But this is definitely something that maybe normal sized people would fit in quite comfortably. But as it stands right here, this is just fine for my size and my frame. All right, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and take a spin in the BYD Dolphin, and you might be quite surprised with what it has to offer. So for starters, you don't get any option with an internal combustion engine with the Dolphin, or any plug-in hybrids for that matter. You've got a fully electric motor. It's a small motor that makes around 95 horsepower and 180 Newton meters of torque. But I gotta tell you, with electric vehicles, those numbers don't really matter, because there really isn't any pickup time for you to get to those 95 horses. Once you hit the accelerator pedal, you're there. you are there. So while some people say that it might be a little bit underpowered, I'd say it's more power than you can ever handle in the city. Now, BYD quotes this 0 to 50 to around 5 seconds. But realistically, if you want to get the 0 to 100 times, you'll get around 12 seconds or so. But when you're city driving, the reason why BYD coded it as 0 to 50 is because that's the speed that you'd be playing with in the city anyway. And not a lot of cars can leave you in the dust in the city while you're driving the BYD Dolphin. This is fantastic to drive. So understandably, steering-wise, it's not going to be the most engaging to drive because it's an electric car, so you get electric power steering. But I gotta say, compared to a lot of the SUVs and crossovers that are fully electric, this one is much better than those, I gotta say, because of course of the lower ride height, the smaller wheelbase, it feels like a hatchback. And that's something that I want to point out. When you're driving the BYD Dolphin, you're not going to be driving around in what you feel like is an appliance. Although it definitely most is, I still believe that EVs are going to be rendered as appliances moving forward. This is the closest thing that I can muster to a fun hatchback. And you guys know how much I love hatchbacks. So you got a suspension setup. It's a standard suspension setup. You got McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar in the back. Now, because of the shorter wheelbase, and this is a hatchback after all, that setup is perfectly adequate for itself. It maneuvers quite well around the city, and it has a small turning radius. Definitely a hatchback through and through. Although it is quite heavy, almost 1,400 kilograms in weight, it is almost as heavy as a standard compact sedan. So it's going to be heavier than a lot of the ICE powered hatchbacks that's out there. But because of the electric motor and the instantaneous torque and horsepower, you're not going to feel that weight. So it's not going to be a particularly hard thing to worry about, especially when driving around the city. What you do have to worry about are the tires. So you got to make sure that you get those EV rated tires as much as you can, something that can carry the weight in this one. But as soon as you change your alloy wheels, I probably wouldn't be changing the wheels, probably be changing the tires in this bad boy into something that's grippier, probably something that's thicker on this one. I'm really looking for something thicker on this one. That's what she said. The NVH levels on this thing is insane. I mean, again, you don't get an engine right there. There's no vibration from the front end or from the rear end in this case. There's no engine sound, there's no engine vibration, and the sound insulation is very good, especially for a hatchback. I mean, see out there, you can hear a lot of the city noise outside, but again, how BYD insulates their cars is quite admirable. Even though we've got some motorcycles right there on the side, you can barely hear them. Of course, it's because of this microphone right here. It's noise canceling. But hey, again, if you're inside, it's perfect. If you're looking for a quiet ride, an EV is always the way to go. So instead of trying to spend, upwards of 2 million pesos for a luxury car, if you're looking for luxury car levels of quietness, an EV is definitely the way to go. So the battery, you've got a small-ish battery right here. You got 44.9, let's say 45 kilowatt hours worth of battery here. And BYD rates it to around 405 kilometers. Realistically speaking though, you're not gonna get 405 kilometers in one single charge. I'd probably rate this around 380 or 360 kilometers. That's how much I got while I was driving this thing around town. And I'm not babying it, and I'm also not trying to avoid traffic as much as I can. Now, I've seen a post online or on Facebook showing us a traffic jam in EDSA, Guadalupe, saying that this is an EV's worst nightmare, or an EV car owner's worst nightmare. I beg to differ. EVs, in this case the BYD Dolphin, actually thrive in traffic and stop-and-go situations. Now, the reason behind that is the regen. You use the most power on your EV when you're stepping in the accelerator pedal. And if you're stuck in a traffic jam, you won't probably be feeling a lot of that range anxiety because you won't be seeing that percentage on the battery. You won't be seeing it go down as much as gasoline engines would. Gasoline cars are actually least efficient when they're in stop and go or in traffic jams. It's the opposite with EVs. They're very efficient when they're standing still. Even if you have the air conditioning on or the headlights on, a lot of people say the headlights actually factor a lot into the loss of battery, and not really, especially with LED headlamps and tail lamps. They're not going to suck up a lot of power. Admittedly, AC would be a big factor with reducing that power, but no. The ACs are definitely good enough to be stuck in traffic for a long time. In fact, we've been filming right there in our usual filming location. We have this stuck in on park. We haven't turned the engine, or let's say the motor, off for about 2.5 hours. And I lost just about 4% of the battery, which gives me more confidence to drive this around. Now, having CCS2 or Type 2 charging infrastructure or protocol, this is very much in line and compatible with a lot of chargers in the country. So if you will head over to any malls these days, and a lot of them have chargers, they can actually charge, and it's very much compatible with the BYD Dolphin. And that is, of course, something that helps you out with your range anxiety as well. Now, if you check out the BYD Dolphin right here, it has a particular charging setting for smart charging. So what happens right there is that once it gets to 80%, it starts to trickle down its charge. But I would probably turn that off myself. so that I can get as much charge as I can. And that's the beauty about the Blade battery system. It runs on a lithium iron polymer type of battery. It's not lithium ion, it's lithium iron polymer. So unlike normal lithium ion batteries that actually degrades over time because of your charging habits, charging it to full every time you can get it, that's different with BYD's technology. So as long as you keep it topped up, even if you go to 0% or charge it up unnecessarily like we do with cell phones, it's not a cell phone. You treat it like a cell phone, but you don't have to worry about battery degradation like a cell phone. So just charge it up, no problems. Now with every purchase of the BYD Dolphin or any BYD vehicle, you get the option to get a wall charger, a 7 kilowatt hour wall charger. Now, if you charge your battery from 0 to 100 using the wall charger, you can get 8 hours. So, right, overnight charging takes only just 8 hours with a wall charger. They also have DC fast charging. So the DC fast charging can go from 30 to 80% in 30 minutes. So it's that quick. Another cool feature about the Dolphin is that it's got V2L or vehicle to load function. So it has an adapter included with this. So you can actually just connect it to the power outlet right there, and you can connect your appliances to it. So it's perfect for those who want to go camping. But who would want to go camping in a front-wheel drive hatchback? Maybe an outdoor date or something. But camping is quite a stretch. Now, if there's one thing that BYD cut a little bit of corners around this car, it's with the advanced safety features. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still one safe car to be in because it's got traction control, it's got stability control, multiple airbags, electronic brake force distribution, hydraulic brake assist, which of course is very important even though you're driving an EV, and 360-degree camera systems and rear parking sensors. It's the complete package if you're talking about a standard car. But one thing that it lacks though is the advanced driver assist systems. You don't get adaptive cruise control, no lane keep assist, no lane departure warning. But what this reminds me a lot is a standard type of package. You're looking for a car that's let's say gas up and go, in this case charge up and go, without having to worry about those electronic doodads, which is quite an oxymoron for me, in fact. You're driving in an electric car, pretty much future-proof for the next 10 years or so, but it lacks those electronic niceties. But I sure appreciate the additional features that BYD put here. Some sort of quality of life features like wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It's got great speakers inside. When I first booted up the speakers, I thought they were aftermarket speakers, but they're pretty good. They're pretty nice. It's just that those advanced driver assist systems are actually a deal breaker for some people. People are looking for those almost automatic parking features in this type of car. But at its current price point, I'm actually quite surprised that you have all this available. And the lack of ADAS, for me at least, is not a deal breaker. The BYD Dolphin starts at 1,398,000 pesos. Now at 1,398,000 pesos, it's definitely something that if you discount the fact that it doesn't have advanced driver assist systems, it does feel like quite a steal. I mean, this itself, the 12-point touchscreen infotainment system, makes you feel that you're driving around in a very premium car. And this neat trick where you can actually flip the screen like that, it is a gimmick, I gotta say, but it's a cool gimmick right there that leaves a lot of people awestruck whenever they see it. I myself, I've been driving this for almost a week now, and it never ceases to amaze me, and I like that. Like I said in the beginning of the video, the BYD Dolphin is one of the most important EV releases in the country's automotive history. Now, it's not because of how it looks, because of its power or its affordability, but of course, it's because of its first mover advantage. Now, while other companies were apprehensive in bringing in their vehicles, BYD was brave enough to bring in a daily driver, and the handful of EVs available at that time were just niche products or either too expensive or something that you wouldn't be driving on the daily. But this one, I believe, is something that you could drive on the daily, but I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Roy Rollis from Zigwheels.Ph. I will see you guys next time.